Okay, good evening, everyone. It's nice to see all of you from near and far. It's great. Um, so I appreciate all of you online for coming and the two people here for doing some roles. It's wonderful. And I'd also like to welcome those that might be listening to this in the future, perhaps, especially those from our sanghas in Madison and Minnesota, Chicago, England, Switzerland, and Hawaii. So welcome to all. The theme, as you know, for this event is turning inward with spaciousness. So before we talk about the actual theme, I'd like to go over the basic guidelines for intensives in general and for this one in particular. So, as always, practice intensives, no matter their length, are a gift that we create for ourselves and each other. It's a gift of space, of silence, respect for each other's containment, and expression of mutual care through our work and practice together. So please take advantage of this opportunity, this rare opportunity for bringing yourself wholeheartedly to your practice in every moment. So one-day sits are, in all intensives, are intentional experiences for exploration and for deepening our practice. So we come together to support each other in a simplified way of living so that we can open our awareness fully to our life and our path. And part of that experience includes giving ourselves permission to experience and work with whatever arises in the context of our practice. There will be opportunities to meet with the teacher, moi, during the event to help clarify your practice. So the specific guidelines are that silence is maintained except for during practice discussion with the teacher and during question and answer time or during talks. Zazen period. This time Peg kind of started a new way of, a new mix on the timing for sitting and for walking meditation, and I'm following suit because I liked it so much. So it'll be 25 minutes for sitting and 15 for walking. I feel like it's a better mix, easier on the body. So we'll be doing that. So we'll have the zazen and then the walking meditation and then some kind of break afterward, lunch or talk or a tea, for example. So tomorrow, as you probably know already, we won't have a meal here. You guys are on your own. And here you could bring your own lunch, bring a sack lunch, but we will have snacks for people to eat, so we have that. If you get hungry between meals. We'll be sharing an intimate space. This is more for the Zendo, but so please be mindful of keeping the area around your seat neat and clean. Be considerate of others as we're supporting each other and being supported in this practice together. When you have a practice discussion, any topic that is meaningful for you is fine for practice discussion with the teacher. So please use this precious time of meeting wisely. We'll be doing that tomorrow. Maybe I better start tonight, actually, since we have 10 people. And notice the natural tendency to scatter your energies when in a transition from zazen to standing, from meditation periods to lunch or tea breaks. Be alert and curious about whatever is arising without any attempt to manipulation whatsoever. This is especially important because that's what our theme is, paying attention and turning towards. Please follow the schedule completely. Schedules are, I sent you all a little packet. Did you get them? I sent it at the last minute, so I apologize for that, but that's when it was done. So there you have it. And the schedules are posted here in the kitchen and in the back room. So be sure to be on time for Zazen talks and the Zazen talks and activities. As always in the Zen tradition, that means 5 minutes before the activity starts. There will be a set of clappers 10 minutes before a sitting period that follows a break. So please come at once to the Zendo. Well, it goes for everybody. And in here, if you want to change to a chair or change to a cushion, however you want to change around, we've got plenty of choices. So change as you feel like you need to. You can use the restroom during meditation, walking meditation, not meditation, but during walking meditation. But please wait for the second clapper that starts the walking meditation. Just wait for the second clapper, and then you can leave from here or leave from your own Zendo seat. So intensives work by containing the energy we normally dissipate in our distractions and busyness. Allow yourself to be immersed in the silence and stillness here as much as possible. This is extremely important to support each other's practice in this way. And also when you go back home this evening, please maintain silence, even with your roommates or housemates or what have you. And avoid using computers, cell phones, televisions, or other devices during the time of the one-day sit, except for emergencies. When we take this break of one day and a couple of hours tonight, we can notice our automatic and sometimes frantic clinging and habits of distraction. We want to go to play a game on the computer or watch TV or whatever. But this is the best way to fully experience this gift of time and space to avoid that. Avoid those things. Again, for the in-person folks, remember to leave no trace, be attentive, keep the space neat and clean, be mindful to keep the tea area, which is will be the kitchen, neat and clean up after yourself. I don't need to tell you guys that, but anyway. Please label the cup with your name and for the drinks, and wash your cup as needed. If the weather is amenable, if it's good weather tomorrow or warm enough, we'll do outside walking, meditation. Otherwise, we'll walk in the Zendo. Online participants, it's dependent on what works for you weather-wise, and if it's convenient if you can leave. I know, Rosemary, that's kind of tough for you. Normally having to go downstairs so many floors. Anyway, so you guys decide what you can and can't do around that. Please keep your monitors on during sitting and during talks, and then during the breaks you can shut them down and turn them off, close them. So we all support each other, and please be mindful of the roles and jobs you are assigned to, and be sure to show up in time for these responsibilities. If you have any particular needs in the Zendo, please consult the respective monitors. So we'll consult each other, and you guys can consult Nancy tonight and tomorrow afternoon, and Rosemary maybe tomorrow. See how she feels. Yeah. Okay. All right. With that said, I'd like to are there any questions about any of that? It's kind of the standard stuff. You guys are all hands. Okay. So I'd like to do an introduction to the theme.
Joan has hand up? I'm not sure.
No, that's the cursor.
Oh, the cursor, okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so the introduction to turning in with spaciousness. So in this one day sit plus, we will be going to be focusing on what I would say 3 elements associated with our Buddhist practice here at Appamada. So the first is the concept of turning toward whatever is arising in us at any particular point in time, to understand what's really going on with us, what are we up to at that moment. So we use mindfulness to notice sensations in the body. We notice emotions and thoughts, or thoughts generated by the mind. So as Joko Beck talks about in all of her books, is paying attention, making this turn. Jack Kornfield, most of the instructors talk about this. So that's what we're going to be doing, is noticing what is arising in us without any sort of change. We don't want to manipulate it at all, we just watch it. At the same time, we might also notice feeling tones. So say you have some sort of sensation in your stomach, or you hear a noise, and immediately you have a sense of, I like that, I don't like that, or I'm neutral toward it. So that's another thing to kind of pay attention to as that arises, if you could catch it. It's pretty quick. So which one do you feel? Does it change over time? So you hear something, you go, uh-oh, and then it becomes okay if it continues. You just kind of notice where that goes. So once we are aware of the sensation and our orientation toward it, we can study it more deeply to see if it changes, and if so, how. Sometimes if we keep watching, sometimes we'll have, may have images or thoughts and emotions that accompany it, and it may clue us in closer to what the sensation is actually about. Is it about the present, or is it about the past, or even the future? If we just watch it, what happens? Where does it lead us? So by investigating our experience in this way, we can learn about ourselves and our patterns of behavior. And we can ask, are the patterns reflecting old stories in our heads, or are they actually reflecting current reality? We can ask ourselves, are they actually true? Is this a true thing that I'm thinking? Or is it just, again, reflection of old ideas or explanations we may have created or were told at some point in our life? This process of continually turning towards helps us determine what is habitual conditioning, and what is and what isn't habitual condition. It helps us bring some of our stories to light so we can understand our underlying suffering better, and perhaps eventually let it go. So the second element that we'll be looking at, as the title indicates, is spaciousness, or spacious awareness, to which we can readily open through various means, and thereby creating a larger container from which we can hold and view our pain and difficulties. This bigger view allows us to have a clearer perspective on whatever we are dealing with. It's like I've said before, it's like you have your forehead against the wall, and you're looking at the wall and you can't see what's right in front of you. But if you step back, by golly, you can see a lot more, and it's whatever the issue is, or wherever the spot is, you can see much more than just that one spot. So in this one day sit, we'll be creating spaciousness specifically by shifting into spacious awareness. And some of you have done that with me before, and some of you may not have, but we'll do it. Yikes. We'll do it in the next couple of minutes. I better speed up here. So I'll talk about that, how to do that in just a minute, but we'll have an opportunity to practice it. But I want to talk a little bit about this awareness before we actually talk about the shifting. So awareness, spacious awareness can become available to us, but the main thing is our normal awareness is usually we become aware of something and then it's kind of translated through our mind. The awareness goes through our everyday brain and it kind of translates it. Unfortunately, the way the mind views things, it's in a dualistic way. And the way I think of it is that it's your eyes that are looking out on the world. So there's this automatic division between you and the rest of the world, all the objects of the world. So it's me, you, other. And so the mind, the everyday mind, tends to divide things up and put things in categories and evaluate and form opinions, and we act on those, which isn't such a bad thing. It's very useful in some cases for planning and organizing and gathering data and so forth. It's very useful. But if you're going to get out of the ego-centric world of your mind, you have to kind of bypass it. And what we'll be doing is going into a non-dual state, basically, by shifting. We'll drop our awareness down. I'll explain how we do that in a second. But that's the plan, and then we'll be able to be later on turning toward the things that are arising, and we can do it from everyday mind and see what that's like, and then doing it from the non-dual, from shifting, and see what that's like, and see if there's a difference. So that's where we're headed through our time together. So, okay, yeah. So the everyday mind is experienced as sense perceptions, thoughts, and emotions. And it looks from thoughts and ego functions to create this ego identification, which is the egocentric part. And it creates the subject-object dualism that obscures the subtle levels of our mind, subtle levels of mind. So, as I said, it's very important what the everyday mind does for us, because it's very important in survival to be able to kind of keep an eye on yourself and what you need to do to survive. But anyway, I won't even go there. We're kind of tending toward more cooperation, and so the shifting can be very useful in dealing with others in general. Okay, so let's see. Okay. So we'll go into all of this later on. I don't have time for this. Okay. So as I said before, what we'll be up to with this shifting is it's embodying the inconceivable, is what the bottom line to it is. It's a body practice instead of an intellectual practice. So we're not going to be so much talking about things or talking about these sensations. Well, we will be, but we'll be noticing we'll be looking at the body for giving us information with which we can do things with. So it's more of an embodied practice is what we're going to be doing tomorrow. Any questions about that? There'll be more stuff about that tomorrow. But this is just that.
I have a little question.
Yes.
When I go home tonight, I'm going to say something to my wife, and she's going to say, "So why are you doing that? So why are we doing this?"
Okay, I was going to talk about that tomorrow, but I can talk about
Okay,
it
no,
now.
tomorrow, I can wait.
Well, I'll go ahead and do
I'll
it.
tell her,
No,
wait.
no, we'll get the good result. So why are we doing this? It's precisely because what we want to do is we want to end our suffering and end the suffering of others. That's what our vow is, right? And so if we are constantly clinging to the egocentric mind in our thinking and actions, we're gonna be hard, it's gonna be really difficult to save ourselves and others. If, however, we're looking from a place that's much broader, where you don't have this idea of your opinions, this is me and my life and you're over there. If you don't come from there, but from a place that's more equanimous and just comes from a peaceful place of compassion and kindness, it's really hard to do harm to other people. So that's why we're doing it.
Great, thank you.
I'm glad you asked, because I always forget. I know what I'm doing, nobody else does. Okay, so time is running short. Okay, let's do a quick, we're gonna do a quick shifting practice just so we can start it tonight and then we'll practice it again tomorrow. So this is gonna take a little bit, but that's okay, we'll go over time. So to start, just get into a comfortable position, which you probably already are, per se. And we're just going to assume a soft gaze. You can look at other people if you want. I'd say keep your eyes open. And we're not looking at something like, probably not really studying something. That's not it. We're just, like I say, have a light gaze, and what we're doing is taking, first of all, we need to take our awareness. As I said before, it's usually glommed onto the mind. So we start looking at something, we automatically, the mind takes over and starts telling us what it is, instead of allowing us the capacity to really be with something. This is about being as opposed to doing. So anyway, so we're comfortable, we're looking out, and then we notice our awareness and we drop it down into our chest. We don't want it going back up to the mind. So we drop it into our chest. We can drop it into our heart, which is kind of the center of compassion. That's one place. You can drop it down into your belly. You could put it in a lot of places, but for now, just as long as you make it down below the neckline and into your chest somewhere, that's where we want to be with our awareness. Now, what does that mean? Okay, so I'm sitting here. My awareness is up here, and so automatically I'm just feeling an opening from being in the heart. But if we really want to get a stronger sense of that, I tend to say we can take our hands and put them around our face and say, this is the view of the everyday mind. And what do we notice from this place? So, I notice that I feel claustrophobic. There's no space here. What does anybody else feel?
It's very limited.
It's very limited. What about you, Kim?
Limited.
Yeah, limited. Anybody else have a comment? You could just shout it out if you want.
Darker.
Darker? Darker, okay, more obscure. Great. So it's just this really closed off place. However, if we start very slowly to open up around our face, immediately I get a sense of more openness. How about you guys? What do you sense? As you move away very slowly, what is the sense that you feel? You've got to really feel, just notice what you feel. Any sense?
Easier to breathe.
Easier to breathe, great. Anybody else?
Open.
Open, yeah. So we're opening up. We're opening up our awareness. It's not stuck here. Awareness is opening. And I'm not talking about peripheral vision. I'm just talking about our awareness. The field of our awareness is increasing. Okay. So then we keep moving it out, just to experiment, just to play, feel what that's like. And notice it's probably getting broader, bigger still. We start to just go out and feel really, really open. Then you can bring it back in a little bit and kind of compare it with what it was like a minute ago. What's it like to be narrow again? So what we're going to be doing is just coming out and working from here in the rest of our time together. Only we'll be looking at our internal state, the sensations we're feeling, the emotions that we have, whatever's coming up for us. We're going to do it from everyday mind, and then we're going to do it from here to find out the difference. Okay. So that's a real fast rundown. We'll do it, as I say again, tomorrow. Does anybody have any questions about that or any comments? That was a really fast way of doing it. Oh, you're all muted again, but sorry about that. Any comments from you guys? No? Kim? No? Okay. All right. So that's the plan. So I'm gonna, if there are no questions, we'll go ahead and go back into, we'll do walking meditation. My thought about that is to stay inside. It would be pretty outside, but I don't like walking in the dark. I'm afraid I'm gonna fall down. It's so dark out here.
It is.
So that's my thought. But you all do what you need to do. We'll be doing it inside. So let's go ahead and close for now, and we'll talk again tomorrow morning.